Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, I'm going to show you a crazy puzzle where it is white to play and win. It's a pretty complex position, so take a minute and see if you can try to find the correct answer. While you're thinking about that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, and we've given about $1,000 to charity so far, so I really appreciate all the support, so thank you for those of you who have subscribed. Okay. Let's start talking about this puzzle here. So just quickly looking at the material and quickly looking at some of the dynamics here, I see that there's a lot of tension between the pieces. There's a lot of stuff happening. This bishop is covering a lot. This pawn can be captured. This pawn on f3 is a bit dangerous. Just like really quick thoughts that pop in and out of your head as you're looking at the puzzle. Maybe this pawn is dangerous as well. So we should notice immediately that we have a pawn on g7. And it'd be nice to do something with this pawn, but it doesn't seem like we can do anything because this king on g8 is blockading everything. So the first move is actually really cool, and after the first move I feel like the puzzle kind of begins after this opening sequence. So if you haven't spotted it quite yet, the first move is a queen move. What queen move? Well, the best one. Queen takes e6. Check. Okay, you pretty much have to take that, right? If not, you're going to get mated. So you take back. Now, what's the point? Well, if you saw this queen sacrifice, you better see the follow-up, which is bishop to d5. What is that doing? That's creating the condition of a pin, so that after the queen captures, you can now fork the king and the queen. So really, the pin created the condition for the fork. I probably said that backwards. Okay, and they take, right, of course. And then you take. And now in this position, I feel like the puzzle kind of starts. That first opening tactic is kind of a little firework, but there are so many ways for white to go wrong here. And that's what's amazing about this puzzle. So what would you do here? It's white just played knight d5. So it's black to play. You have all these pawns. You can push this one down the board, maybe this one down the board. What would you do? So it's kind of a good thing to notice that if you quickly push this pawn, it's going to get tracked down because I have king g2, right? And you're not going to be able to advance this any further. So don't be too quick with the pawns. What about pawn b4? Maybe the idea is that if you take this, you'll give up this one. And that's a correct move. If they do this and you take, this will actually be a draw. You just threw away the win, just like that. So instead, if this move is played, you play a6, b3, a7, b2, you queen, right? No, you don't. Instead, you get behind the pawn, of course, right? So now you can give up this pawn because you're here, right? Makes sense. Okay, so the best move is not to push this pawn or push this pawn. Instead, you're trying to be really tricky and you're pushing the h pawn. Now, why is this? Well, if you push a6 now, what is the best move in the position for black? Just as a quick quiz to you. It's quite subtle. The move is h4. Just passing up this pawn. Why would I possibly make that move? Well, now, if a7 is played, I can play f2, and I'm going to be queening first, right? Well, can't the king just play king g2? Well, now h3 hits with check, which is a deflection move. And if you choose to go under the pawn, now h2 hits, and this is going to be a draw. It's a little complicated to show that, but now two queens are on the board, and the computer's saying queen a7, queen b7, and it's just going to be a bunch of checks. This is what the computer is showing, right? You can look that up if you would like on your own. It looks a little dangerous to me, but this is also quite dangerous, right? This move, promote the pawn. So I think the queen just has to keep checking. Okay. So the fancy move is to play h5. That's setting up quite a bit of traps. So you have to address this tension in this box here before pushing the pawn up the board. Great. So you have to take. Anything else doesn't really work because of the reason I just showed. Now they take back. Now they're still in a position to do this h4, h3 deflection tactic very soon. So you have to keep that in mind. a6, great. h4, right? They're setting it up. So now, just like before, if you play a7, you're going to fall right into their trap again. Right? There's only one move that wins here, and it's not a7. a7 leads to everything I just showed. This whole line. And if you choose to take, obviously the queen, and you're going to lose the game. So, let me go back. In this position, after h4, only one move wins. And this move is not one that I think would even be on my radar. This move is knight to e7. Now explain that to me. You might go, what in the world is that move? Well, in principle, it's going, oops, I just flipped the board over. In principle, it's going to f5, and f5 is intending on a fork. That's one idea. So if you play, let's just say f2, I can play king g2, and now this whole idea doesn't work anymore. Because if you play h2, I play knight f5 check, you gotta move somewhere, and now I'm here, and this is guarded. And I'm, surprisingly, just gonna push this pawn up the board. I'm fine. Isn't that kind of cool, the way the knight can hop like that? That's how chess works, Frank. Okay, so after knight e7, the best move, the only try really, is to attack this knight. Try to get it away so it can't make all these jumps, and you can go for this tactic again. So let's just go with the best move in the computer's eyes, which is king f7. King f6 is slightly inferior. Okay, what's the move here? Well, you want to be on this pawn, so it makes sense to play knight f5. But you have to be very careful, because after f2, how are you going to respond to this? You have to run here. And then, just like before, you want to anticipate this move, right? But what if, before pushing the pawn, black tries to attack your knight? Now this is a very critical moment. If you take here, which looks like a good move, this is a draw, or you're going to lose. Now why? Because remember, the knight for a while was guarding a lot of these squares and was making way for this pawn one day. Well, now you can promote to a queen, and then black will take you. And then you can take on e3, and if anyone's pushing here, it's black for sure, right? This pawn's going to win. So black is winning here. The engine is saying minus 2.19. So interpret that as you may, but this position, just with a human eye, looks pretty rough for white. So you can't take this pawn. So what do you do in this position? Right? The knight is sitting here. The knight was supposed to guard this pawn. Now what? So there are a couple ways to win. Let me just say that. But the flashy way, the best way, is to play knight g3 and give up your own knight. Isn't this crazy? They take. What do? You play f7. And now what do? They can't promote. You just connected their pawns for them, which actually hurts them. Isn't that a fascinating idea? Usually connected pawns are a good thing. Now it hurts them. So now what? King f5 or something, right? The best move is just queen. This is easy. Just win this game. This is not a problem. I should stop here. So really, there's nothing to be had here after this queen. Black is down quite a bit of material. King e6 is the best move. I don't know about you. I'd play this, maybe this. It's up to you and how you want to play it. It doesn't matter at that point what the best move is according to the engine. So you might say to me, wait a second, what if they don't take? What if they instead do this kind of thing again? Well, yeah, just take it. This is guarded, right? That's the whole point. So it's pretty incredible that all the way back in that first position, think about it, all the way back, you give up your queen. You make this little knight fork happen. You very carefully understand the idea that they're going for. They're trying to dislodge your king from the defense of this f1 square. You don't let that happen. Instead, you push the pawn and you play the super cool knight e7, which allows some of these moves f2, but it's fine because you can just play king g2, and if they attack your pawn, nothing wrong with that. Sorry, if they attack your knight, nothing wrong with that. knight f5, and like I showed, this is just going to be completely fine after knight g3. You could win it a different way. You could play something like king f1. You could play a7. A7's cool too. You're just giving this up. But I wouldn't play that myself. I'm a little nervous about this move. But apparently it's fine. Look at that. Knight g3. Hold everything down. So it's a super cool puzzle. Did you figure it out? Let me know in the comments. See if you did. It's pretty crazy, but hopefully you did. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, bye.